we have finished developing all the features of Hogwarts Artifacts Online. Now it's ready to deploy it to a server. In this lecture, I picked a cloud service called Heroku, but there are other alternatives. For example, Amazon AWS, Microsoft Azure, IBM Cloud, and etc. The reason I pick Heroku is very developer friendly. It is very easy to deploy a Spring Boot application to Heroku in 2 minutes. Next, let me show you how to deploy our Hogwarts Artifacts Online to Heroku, so everyone in the world can access our application. Before that, let me do some changes in my application, because before I record this video, I tried it a little bit, and my application failed to run in Heroku server. It says there is a dependency circle. Even though we solved it locally, it runs perfectly on my machine, but for some reason, Heroku does not like the solution I provided. So let me try it a different way. If it fails, I'll come back to fix it again. So this time, I'm going to use setter in both classes, one in Spring Security Config and one in user service. So as you can see, right now, I'm using constructor to inject encoder. So let me take it out. And I'm going to use setter to inject. And use annotation at auto-wired. If Heroku does not like this either, I will use a third solution. So in summary, what I did is, here I use setter to inject encoder, and in Spring Security Config, I use setter to inject user service. So let's see if this works. Okay, let me collapse everything. Also, let me add one more file under Hogwarts Artifacts Online directory. New file. And the name of the file is called system.properties. This is for Heroku. When you run your application in Heroku, by default, Heroku will use Java 8. But remember, we require Java 12. So this file basically tells Heroku, the cloud server, please help me install Java 12 because we need Java 12 compiler. If you need 11, make sure you change it to 11. If you need 13, put it 13 there. All right. So we made some changes. Then let's push to GitHub. Then we're going to connect Heroku to GitHub so Heroku can pull our code from GitHub and run it on Heroku. So let's go to terminal. Git add, git commit. The message here is add system properties file. Then git push. Okay. All right, let's go to Chrome. Refresh. Okay, as you can see now, under our root directory, we have system.properties. Okay, let's go to Heroku. I have already logged into Heroku. This is the welcome page. It says I do not have any apps yet, so let's create one. So you can either create here or go here. All right, so create a new app. Let's call it Hogwarts. Well, it's too popular, right? Hogwarts Artifacts. That's good. Online. Okay. Then let's create an app. So this is the panel under deploy. As you can see, there are 3 different ways you can deploy. Heroku actually has its own Git repository. So if you're a big fan of Heroku, you do not have to use GitHub. You can publish all your code in Heroku Git repository. And we're using GitHub. So we want Heroku to get our code from GitHub. So click connect to GitHub. And then I will connect to GitHub. Click here. As you can see, it requires an OAuth because I have already logged on and I connected to my repository, TCU Senior Design. And we're going to pull this repository, Hogwarts. Search. Connect. Okay. Choose the branch to deploy. Master, no problem. Okay. You can also have optional continuous integration. Remember, I told you before. Later on, we are working on a real project. I recommend you use a CI tool, for example, like Circle CI or Traverse CI. That means every time you commit to GitHub, this continuous integration tool will trigger all the test cases you defined in your Spring Boot application. And it will tell you that if this new commit passed all the tests or failed a test. If it failed test, you should stop working and fix those bugs before you commit more code. So it's really a good practice of using continuous integration. But in this case, we do not have continuous integration. Okay, click this, enable automatic deploys. So we're connected. And then we can click deploy branch. Okay, as you can see, Heroku is smart enough to detect this is a Java and is installing JDK 12. Then look at here. It's downloading a lot of things from Maven Central. Why? We have downloaded before. That's right. But we download everything on my local machine. Right now, I'm deploying my Spring Boot application on a remote server. That's why in the remote server, there was no packages at all. So Maven has to download everything from scratch. Okay, so that's a good sign. All right, so it looks as good. So we scroll up, build success. It takes 21 seconds. Well, the reason is this is the first time I run it. So Maven has to take time to download all the jars from Maven Central. Now it says your app was successfully deployed. And if you click view, this will launch my app. Now remember, in our app, we do not have a front end. So that means if I go to hogwartsartifactsonline.herokuapp.com, there's no index.html. That's why we get an error page. But this is a good sign. That means our server is up, but we couldn't find a page because our application is not supposed to have a front page. Okay, so let's do a test here. Let's say we're going to find all artifacts. Okay, so /artifacts. Now remember, if you type everything in the address bar of the browser, there's a GET request. So basically here, we're telling the server to return all the artifacts. Also, we do not need login, right? So press enter. Okay, we got flag is true, code is 200, message is find all success, and data has 6 magical artifacts. Very good. Congratulations to you and to myself. Okay, let's test in Postman as well. Now this time, we're no longer using localhost, okay, because localhost is only my machine. So let's copy this. Oh, by the way, we also get HTTPS for free. Okay, so let's go to Postman. And for example, let's find all wizards. Okay, so this time we're not using localhost 8080. Delete this and paste. HTTPS, and this is our address. Okay, and let me delete this one. Heroku is smart enough to use port 443, which is the port for HTTPS. Okay. All right, so let me run it. Okay, as you can see, we got the 3 wizards using this one. Okay, so let's test again. For example, find all users. Send. Now this time we got an error page. It says, please log in. So let's try to log in. Using John's credentials. Send. Okay, now remember our previous request is we're going to find all the users. Once we use John's credential to log in, it shows us, in this case, the 3 users. And the good thing is we're no longer on a local machine, but it is accessible from everywhere in the world. Okay, let me show you something else. Let's say we want to add an index page to our application. Because remember, when we start Heroku application, it goes to an error page, which looks just ugly, right? So even though we're not using it as a front end, but it's good to have an index page. If you're going to have an index page, we're going to put it under resources, src main resources, and we can put it under static. So right click, new HTML, let's call it index. So here, we're going to say, welcome to Hogwarts Artifacts Online. Please refer to the API doc at www.example.com, for example. Okay. Also, we'll give a title here. Okay. Then git add, git commit, okay. Then we're going to push to GitHub. What I want to show you here is every time you push your commit to GitHub, Heroku will be notified automatically and then redeploy everything. And you as developer don't have to worry about anything. In other words, you don't have to go there and manually click redeploy. No. So every time you push your new commits, and if you have CI, continuous integration, and if your commit passes those tests, then Heroku will redeploy everything. So push. And I think we can do is go to here, view logs. Okay, it says build started by me. It's restarting. So remember, it takes a while because we push it to GitHub first, and then it pulls everything from GitHub. As you can see, it launches Spring Boot again. Okay, so the whole point of this example is that how convenient it is, right? Every time you have a new commit, then you will see every changes immediately. Okay, so let's go back. And we can open app. All right, so this time, instead of this ugly error page, we have a very nice page. Okay, feel free to add some CSS, Bootstrap, things like that in it, no problem. Okay, so before I turn off the video, I'm going to show you one last thing. Okay, is that remember, let me go back here, view log. Okay, all right. Do you remember that every time we bring up Spring Boot, we have, let me show you this here. Okay, if I launch it, and this is minor, okay? You don't have to we're not test it, okay? So every time you see this, we have a banner, right? And the default one is Spring. So let me show you how do we customize it, okay? In other words, have our own banner. Okay, so let's go to Chrome, and you can search Spring Boot banner generator. Okay, then you can click one of those links and generate your own banner. I have already generated one. It's called Hogwarts. So it's in my clipboard. So let's go to IntelliJ here, and I will copy and paste it under resource. Okay, it has to be banner.txt. Okay, so it's Hogwarts. So you can get something like this in one of those Spring Boot banner generator. Okay, so save. And if you launch again, as you can see now, this is no longer Spring, but it's Hogwarts. So it's pretty cool here. All right, okay. So that's all for Spring Framework and Spring Boot. I hope you enjoy this topic. One last thing I want to talk about is you can also install databases on Heroku. Because remember, right now we're using H2 database. That's for development. In production, we have to switch from H2 to either MySQL or Oracle or some other things, right? So Heroku supports some data stores. So if we click resources here and click find more add-ons, here we have many choices for data stores. For example, we have Redis, which is NoSQL. We have Mongo. We have Maria. Now remember, Maria is very similar to MySQL. And here is DrawsDB MySQL. And I recommend Heroku Postgres. Okay, so this is a free version. Unfortunately, I didn't see Oracle MySQL. Okay, here we have a DrawsDB MySQL. Okay, we also have Maria, that's good. And there are other numerous add-ons like monitoring, login, emails, caching, content management, search, and so on and so forth. Okay, so there are a lot to explore. All right. So that's all for Spring Framework and Spring Boot. Of course, I cannot teach you everything, but you know enough to get started. Don't forget, always read the great documentations from Spring Framework and Spring Boot. I hope you guys have enjoyed this topic.